morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. My name is Susan Gerhard, and I'm here this morning on Friday, August 17th, 2018, with Franklin Funes from our sales office.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
And tell us what's going on in sales.
Well, a lot of exciting events are happening in sales. We are in the middle of a wonderful event series that we're hosting, which is something a little bit newer to that we're doing here at Green Spring. We actually got this idea from our communities in Maryland, where they take an idea, a concept that we want our future residents to learn, and we split it out into multiple events.
Okay.
And so we just had our first one a few weeks ago, and it was all about downsizing. So we have our priority list members who join our priority waiting list, and they say, okay, I found the place that I want to move to, but what's next? And so what we find, and many residents know this, the downsizing is probably the biggest task. And so we had vendors and residents who have gone through this process very recently to talk about their experiences, certain things to consider. And I think what I really liked about the overall event was there's plenty that you can do even before you're ready to make the move, so that it just becomes a little bit easier.
So this is something that number one, you get the idea from other communities that they said, hey, we tried this and it worked pretty well. And so we're saying these are people on the priority list that are thinking downsizing. Oh, this is something I have to do. I've never done it before. I just probably don't want to think about it right now, and I'll think about it in the future. And so you thought, well, we'll put on a little activity here and help them learn a little more about it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, you know, the accumulation that you can make over a 20, 30, 40-year span, and where to start. And so what we talked about was, let's just say you retain some files. How do you dispose of them properly? What organizations can you go to so that they can shred them for you? For belongings that you think have value, but yet you don't think that you want to bring it to Green Spring, where do you take it? How do you get it auctioned so that you are able to get some proceeds? And then also talking about if you don't want to bring it to Green Spring, maybe a family member wants them, what to do next. So it just really gives our residents a chance to put that in perspective and get some ideas.
And I'm sure part of this was talking about how you can maybe take a tax deduction for some of these things. Don't just throw them away.
Exactly.
You know, get some financial benefit out of them.
Yeah, and also talk about new trends that are out now, such as what the worth of your silver is versus your gold.
Oh, good idea.
And things like that. So things that residents might not even be thinking about.
And a lot of things that I've noticed. I don't know if you watch Antiques Roadshow, but I do. We tend to think, oh well, this is really worth a whole lot, and not so much in some cases. Yes,
I agree.
Kind of breaking that news to people and helping people learn about those things. But downsizing is big and very, very difficult.
It is. It is.
So you had a workshop on that.
We had a wonderful workshop.
Excellent.
And now the folks that came to this event are coming to our next event.
Good. So they said, we learned a whole lot.
They sure did.
Let's see what else we can learn.
So they're coming back, and now they're learning about the real estate market.
Oh, good.
So they say, okay, once we downsize, when is the right time to sell our house? And so we're having real estate agents come over on the 24th and talk about here are what the markets are looking like in Northern Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C. Here's what you should consider to get maximum value for your home. Because ultimately what we want this is not only to be a smooth transition, but also a financially sound one. And so if we can help them maximize what they're going to receive.
So for those who have the luxury of planning ahead and saying, maybe I want to wait until a certain time of the year when the market might be the best.
Exactly. And the wonderful thing is, depending on where you're coming from, Northern Virginia is doing quite well. And so what we have found is a lot of our agents have said, typically you think the springtime is the best time to sell. But what we're finding is that what happens in the wintertime is it becomes a seller's market, because there's less homes to be sold.
Right.
And so the homes that we're putting for sale when our residents are moving are going rather quickly and for top dollar. So
good. I know we sold ours in the wintertime and it went just like that.
Exactly. So it's more and more education so that our residents can make sound decisions.
Good. And so, well, as we were talking before we went on camera, that we have a lot of people who haven't sold a home for maybe 20, 30, or 40 years, and this is all new to them, and I'm sure they appreciate the education.
Absolutely. What we find is the most important thing Spring is, our residents that are considering Green Spring and are moving haven't moved in 30, 40, 50 years. And so, this is where you have to remind yourself the human element of it, which is it's a very scary task.
It is a scary task.
And so, as a sales office, I've always told our team, this is where we make meaningful relationships with the folks that we're working with so that we can help them and guide them through this process. Because the beautiful part of what we do is when they move in a month or two after they come and we see them, it's a complete 180. You go from feeling stressed and this is a daunting task to, wow, now I get why I should have done this sooner.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of support along the way. I know we appreciate, and we're an Army family. We had moved 1,000 times, and it wasn't the moving that was stressful, but the support along the way, the real estate support and the movers were good. All the support along the way just made it so easy for us, and we really appreciated that. And the education for those who haven't been through this before, I'm sure would make it that much easier.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And
so what other events are coming up?
So what we're excited is for our September Fall Expo. It's on the 14th of September. I've said this before. I want to thank in advance our residents who are allowing us to use the Village Square Clubhouse.
Okay.
So it's pretty much where we take it over, and we have almost 200 people come. And the really nice thing about this is it goes into our event series, but residents are able to bring their families. And I think that's really such a selling point for us, because then the adult children can come and see where mom and dad are moving to, and learn about the activities, learn about these services. It's really a one-stop shop for our prospective residents to learn as much as possible. And so we're excited for that.
I think that's really good for them to bring their children with them.
Yes, it is. And what I'm seeing now is the adult children are much more educated on this concept. They understand what a CCRC is. They understand the different levels of care. They understand how the financing works. And so they're asking really particular questions.
Good. Rather than just 10 years later find out, well, mom and dad went there. And I've heard Ron Taylor talk about this, that mom and dad went there and we didn't really understand it. And when it comes time X number of years down the road at the end of life to figure things out, they really don't know what had happened. So it's good for them to be involved at the beginning. It's great
that they're a part of it from the very beginning, and it just makes it easier throughout the entire time.
And how many prospective residents do you expect to attend?
So prospective residents, I would say normally we'll probably see about 150.
Terrific.
And so the other 50.
And you expect to have some apartments open for them to look at?
Absolutely. So
how many apartments do we have available? How many empty apartments do we have right now?
Yeah. So right now we're in the teens. So last time I checked, we're about 18.
Okay.
And so right now we're excited for the expo, and we're excited for the next few events that are coming along, because that's really where we kind of make a dent into the available apartments. And so I'm happy to say that we've run at over 98% occupancy, which means
that's really terrific.
The community's doing really well. So we're excited.
What's popular right now? 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms?
It
seems to go back and forth.
It does. I would say that every situation is different. But what I'm seeing more right now is folks are looking for about the 2 bedrooms. So we've talked about this before, where I'm in charge of looking at building custom 2-bedroom, 2 baths.
Yes.
So this is where I take potentially apartments right next to each other and bring them together. And so we're always looking at those opportunities, because what we're finding is that we're able to kind of infuse some of the new things that our residents are looking for, and it's very well received.
Are those really popular?
Yeah.
When you do them?
Yeah, when I did the first 3, I probably have a 2-page list of folks who want to get the call. Yeah. So I can tell this is really something that folks are looking for. But every situation is different. We have folks who are coming in who are looking for the 1 bedrooms. I have some folks recently who are looking for the studios. So we want to have
a variety.
We have a variety.
Now I have a question. This is pure nosiness on my part.
Okay.
When we do these new apartments that are combining 2 of them, do we have to go back to the county for each one and get a building permit?
Yes. Yeah. So codes change. So when we're getting an apartment ready for the next person, say it's an individual apartment, since we're keeping the integrity of the apartment the same, there's no permitting required. But when you're breaking down walls, working with.
When we say we have these two, we're going to combine them.
Yes, the county is actually heavily involved.
Yeah.
And so we used to have inspectors come, take a look at all the work we were doing, have them give us the seal of approval before we can ever have someone occupy. And
for those of you watching, if you're wondering what these apartments look like, if you go on the Village Bridge, that we have on the Village Bridge floor plans of every apartment in Green Spring, which is fascinating to look at. And we do have floor plans posted there of these new apartments, and they're very interesting to look at.
Yeah, what we found is the size that most of our priority list members are looking for are a combination of a Brighton and another Brighton, so about 1,400 square feet.
Okay, so just a little bit bigger.
Just a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
that's right.
Interesting. Okay. So we have about 3 minutes left, they're telling us. What else do you need to tell us?
Yeah, so first and foremost, again, thank you for letting us use the Village Square Clubhouse. What you will see is folks coming through the hallways, seeing different apartments. We're showcasing about 13 apartments.
Wow.
And not only that, but we have all of our team members and even community team members, such as our executive team, who are going to support us in showing up available apartments.
And some of our residents also are greeters and I was going to say pointers, guiders.
Yeah, so our residents are a huge part of what we do, and it's ever evolving. So we've actually worked with some of our committee members in the Sales and Information Committee to help us in the office. We're working on having them pick up the phone for us, doing weekend tours, going to outreach events, which is a really big thing that we're focusing on into this year and well into next year, which is we want to take Green Spring on the road. We want to be able to talk about Green Spring at community events.
You did that one time, didn't you, over in Burke?
We did, and it went very, very well. And so we want to continue doing that.
So the bottom line really is that sales and information at Green Spring is just not the few people that work in the office here.
No.
It's really all residents, whether it's on the Sales and Information Committee or whether it's walking through the hallway and seeing people who are being shown an apartment and saying, "Hi, how are you? We'd love to have you here at Green Spring. Welcome. We think you'd like it here." It's a whole team effort.
That's exactly right. The entire community is part of our team. You and I spoke before this started that the culture, I think, is really what sells Green Spring. The fact that individuals can come, and the biggest question that we normally ask ourselves when you're considering Green Spring is, will I find people that I can connect to and that are like me?
Yeah.
And the fact that they come to warm, smiling faces who are eager to welcome them is such a difference.
Yeah.
We talk about that. It's not only the residents, but the staff too. So.
That's right. Yeah, my husband and I were talking last night about one of our dining rooms and saying that the culture of that particular dining room was not so much the decoration, but just the people who worked there, making people feel welcome. And I think that's true throughout the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm excited.
Well, we thank you for joining us this morning. We've learned a lot as always.